The Fairy type made its Pokemon World debut in Generation 6, the Kalos region. And in Lumiose City, you can find 10 Fairies, 2 of which can only evolve by holding a special item and an online trade. There's 3 more Pokemon you can find that only gains the Fairy typing once they Mega Evolve. That's the challenge I present myself with as I try to beat Pokemon Legends ZA using only Fairy types. This is Sir J.K. Gardeling here, welcoming you to my first monotype run attempt in Pokemon Legends ZA. Here are all the rules that I set for the run, so without any further delay, let's get started. I begin this journey as a female avatar, which of course I named Gardelade, as I take in the sights of Lumiose City for the first time. As I stop and stare at the iconic Prism Tower, it is where I encounter my rival for this run, Urbane. And as he spots me out from a few yards away, he tries to get to know me, when my bag was suddenly stolen by a Pancham, who apparently has an agenda. So Urbane and I chased Pancham down until it stopped at a dead end, where Urbane gives me the choice of one of 3 starter Pokemon, and the choice for this run is obvious, as I picked the grass starter from Johto, Chikorita. Chikorita at one point was my least favorite starter in all of Pokemon, but since its final evolution has a new Mega Evolution, that fact is no more. However, for the majority of the early portion of this run, Chikorita has to ride the box until I can acquire Meganium's Megastone. But for now, Chikorita did a fantastic job of defeating that pesky Pancham and getting my travel bag back. For those of you who may not know, in Pokemon Legends ZA, every single starter is guaranteed to have 3 best individual values, which makes for a pretty strong acquisition at the very start of the game. After surviving my first day in Lumiose, I made it to Hotel Z, where I met its owner, AZ, and Urbane officially makes me a member of Team MZ, but the outfits that he gave me will not be on Gardelade very long, as she is a proud fashionista. After meeting Lita, I was challenged to battle by Urbane to get me prepped for the ZA Royale, as Chikorita went up against the other 2 starters that you don't pick in Totodile, which Chikorita has a type advantage against, and Tepig, a fire starter that Chikorita must avoid at all costs. But Chikorita proved who the superior starter is in this run by defeating both Totodile and Tepig. Then after visiting the Pokemon Research Lab for the first time, I was encountered by the other member of Team MZ, Naveen, who gave me a striped trilby to complete my early game wardrobe. Chikorita may be the starter I chose, but the actual starter for this run just so happens to be close by the research lab. Climb up a couple of ladders and you'll reach a fountain where you can find a Flabébé, a natural fairy type, which was a little bit hesitant to join my team at first, but after carefully battling it, I was able to zone in for the capture. The good news is I managed to catch a large Flabébé. The bad news is I caught one with the attack boosting special defense lowering naughty nature. After doing some early research tasks for Professor Mabel, I learned through the ZA Royale app that my first promotion match is against Zach. But before facing him, I had to earn a challenger's ticket, which I did so by defeating 3 trainers in a row. Zach is an ambitious taxi driver who's notorious for losing 99 consecutive promotion matches. But he does have a team of 3 Pokemon, and I'm going up against him with just 1 singular Flabébé. Zach's first Pokemon is the Water and Psychic type from the Kanto region, Slowpoke. Flabébé comes in with a moveset of Vine Whip, a grass physical attack that hits super effectively against Slowpoke, Tackle, Fairy Wind for Fairy type same type attack bonus damage, and I also got the TM for Protect, which will come and clutch down the road for this fight after Flabébé took down Slowpoke and Zach summoned in his second Pokemon, Pidgey, who went down in a matter of seconds. As you probably saw before Slowpoke went down, Flabébé got some HP back by holding a Citrus Berry, and here's where the Protect comes in handy, as it prevents paralysis from the Thunder Wave attempt from Zach's third and final Pokemon, Pikachu. Flabébé tackles her way to a narrow win with just 7 HP remaining, as Zack is forced to hold his 100 straight L, increasing my rank to Y. But after this fight, Flabébé will not be alone for long, as the map opens up for me to find more Fairy-type partners. Now that the tutorial part of the run is over, I went around Lumiose City in search of finding more Fairy types that can contribute for my next 3 upcoming promotion matches, starting with finding a Cleffa. Then just near the Magenta District Pokémon Center, I was able to find the Dene snacking on an apple near a little bit of a shopping area. The Dene was feisty, but I still managed to get the capture. The Dene is an awesome Pokemon to get at this stage of the run because it's also an electric type. I headed to the Pokeball Boutique to buy a luxury ball, then headed back to the Magenta District to find my favorite all-time fairy type, especially one of its final evolutions, of course, as I used that luxury ball to catch a Ralts. The weather was still perfect outside as I climbed atop a ladder not too far away from where I caught the Ralts and battled a wild Eevee. It was already at a level where it learns a fairy type move, which in this case is Disarming Voice. After weakening the Eevee with Chikorita, I caught it in a Premier Ball. 2 of the 4 Pokemon I caught need high friendship to evolve to its next stage. Cleffa is one of them. After having tea with Cleffa for 5 straight times at a cafe near Hotel Z, Cleffa gained high enough friendship to evolve into Clefairy. And since I have more than enough Pokédollars earned from winning in the ZA Royale and selling off tiny mushrooms and pretty feathers at a nearby Pokemon Center, I did the same thing with Eevee. And because high friendship is all it takes to evolve Eevee, as long as it knows a fairy type move, Eevee will evolve into Sylveon. After making an immediate wardrobe change after visiting one of the shopping malls, I visited Wild Zone 6 to catch a Swablu and get the TM for Water Pulse. And after finding a Moonstone, I was able to evolve Clefairy into its final evolution, Clefable. Having a fully evolved Pokemon this early gives us a huge power increase right before the announcement of my second promotion match against Yvonne. But there's one fairy type I knew I needed the most for not only the battle to come, but for longevity in this entire run. You see, fairy types are weak to both steel and poison. And what better fairy type to get this early than Mawile, a fairy type that also is a steel type, and steel types are immune to poison type attacks. The steel and fairy dual typing is among the best combo types in all of Pokemon. And this Mawile also has an attack boosting nature. And catching this Mawile came at the perfect time, considering during the Mabel research task I was able to get the TM for all 3 elemental fangs: Thunder, Ice, and Fire. Immediately after catching Mawile, I also caught a Swirlix. Before catching Mawile, I was able to find a Shiny Stone. At level 19, the first fairy type I caught, Flabébé, was able to evolve into a Floette, but the Shiny Stone was needed to evolve Floette into Florges. And shortly thereafter, at level 20, Ralts evolves into Kirlia. I now have 8 of the 13 encounters I can get for this run, but I only carry 3 with me to this second promotion match against Yvonne as I look to increase my ranking to X. Yvonne's team of 3 includes 2 fairy types, including her first Pokemon being Spritzee. Mawile completely walls this entire fight as it was able to take down both Spritzee and Yvonne's second Pokemon and second fairy type, Swirlix, by using all 3 elemental fangs: Thunder, Fire, and Ice. Yvonne's final Pokemon is the Bug and Flying type from the native Kalos region in Vivillon. I swapped in Dedenne to close the fight off, eradicating Vivillon with the combination of Parabolic Charge followed by a Nuzzle. My fabulous fairies secure another promotion match victory as my rank increases to X after defeating the busy businesswoman. After defeating Naveen in a battle that Lita forced him into battling me, I got another promotion match announcement on the ZA Royale app. Speaking of the app, I decided to change my profile picture into a more appropriate shot after doing an impromptu photo shoot inside Hotel Z. Then I ventured out to catch myself a spritzy. After earning another Challenger's ticket, I waited until dawn hit to head over to an academy at Lumiose City, where I went up against my next promotion match opponent, Zavi, who has a team of 4 Pokemon, and 2 of them just so happen to be poison types, including his lead, the part bug type Venipede. While doing more research tasks for Professor Mabel, I earned a TM for the Psychic Special Attack Size Shock, which I immediately taught my first Pokemon for this fight, Sylveon, who one-shots Venipede with that attack. I also taught Size Shock to Kirlia, as it used that same move to one-shot Zavi's second Pokemon, Roselia. Kadabra fared no better, as it gets wiped out by the combination of Florges' Moonblast and Draining Kiss, forcing Zavi to call upon his final Pokemon, Furfrou. Before being eliminated, Kadabra did set up a Reflect, which cut in half the physical damage that Mawile was dealing, but Furfrou eventually went down to a Thunder Fang. After another dominant performance by my fabulous fairies, my rank increases to W. My momentum was rapidly rising with no signs of slowing down. After knocking off fellow Team MZU member Lita in a battle for fun, I got yet another promotion match announcement. I quickly earned another Challenger's ticket, then made haste to Restaurant Lena to battle its owner and head chef, Rentaro, who has a team of 3 Pokemon, which are all the elemental monkeys from the Unova region. Rentaro's basic form of strategy is use Protect at any point in the battle, considering all 3 of the monkeys, including its lead Pokemon, the Grass Elemental Monkey Simisage, has Protect. Kirlia penetrated through the Protect attempt with Psy Shock before knocking out Simisage with a Side Beam, which Kirlia was able to fire off faster because the Quick Claw Kirlia was holding activated. The Dene made quick work of the Water Elemental Monkey Simipour, leaving Rentaro with his ace, the Fire-type Elemental Monkey Simisear, who protected itself from being paralyzed by the Dene's Nuzzle, which is exactly what the plan was all along, as I swapped in Clefable, who had to take a critical hit Flame Wheel on the switch. I had Clefable heal up a bit with Moonlight after striking with a super effective water special attack Bubble Beam, which also lowered Simisear's speed, before Clefable eventually earned the KO for the victory with a second Bubble Beam. Rintaro will have to wait a little longer to turn Restaurant Lena into a 3-star establishment, as I now increase my rank to V. The obedience cap in this game rises up to 40, and now business can truly pick up for my fairies. The second I left the restaurant, night fell, as I was greeted by a call from Detective Emma and confronted by the legendary Zygarde 10% form. Zygarde led me to a building, throwing me atop a roof, as I was gifted a Mega Ring by AZ, who also lets me a Lucario, who teamed up with me in an attempt to pacify Rogue Mega Absol. After Lucario and I did our part in calming Absol down, on the very next day, I traveled with Urbane to Quasartico Inc., where we met up with Vinnie, who just so happens to be our next promotion match opponent. Defeating the corporate honcho drastically increases our ranking, but before being able to get that opportunity, we had to earn ourselves a Challenger's ticket. And now 2 of my Pokemon got to evolve to its final stages, starting with Kirlia at level 30 into the glorious Gardevoir. And not to be outdone, at level 32, my starter Pokemon can finally evolve into Meganium. Still, there were a couple of things I needed to take care of, like going into Wild Zone 7 to get the TM for Dazzling Gleam, a move that any and all fairy types can learn, including my newest addition, the part Rock-type Carbink, which I caught in Wild Zone 9. Then, once I earned another Challenger's ticket, I made my way back to Quasartico Incorporated to face off against Vinnie, And this is where the battles in Pokemon Legends ZA get serious, considering Vinnie is the first trainer you face up against with a Pokemon that can Mega Evolve as his ace. Vinnie's first Pokemon Houndoom was to set up a Fire Spin the second it arrives, but Clefable was able to withstand that trap and knock out Houndoom with a pair of Bubble Beams that fired off fast because of the Quick Claw. Vinnie's second Pokemon Sharpedo loves to set up a Whirlpool trap, but Florges got the one-hit KO with a super effective Grass Special Attack Giga Drain. Mawile easily dissected Vinnie's third Pokemon Canari with the 3 Elemental Fangs and the fighting physical attack Brick Break, and once Canari went down, Vinnie was only left with his ace Pokemon Drampa. I swapped in Gardevoir to deal with Vinnie's normal and dragon type that now has a new Mega Evolution. I had Gardevoir hold a White Herb to offset the Icy Wind that Drampa used that lowered Gardevoir's speed. Drampa was able to paralyze with Glare, but ultimately proved to be no match for Gardevoir's flurry of attacks, Draining Kiss, Dazzling Gleam, and Icy Wind. Gardevoir was also able to minimize the damage from Drampa's attacks by setting up a light screen. And once Vinnie was defeated, our rank gets shot up nearly to the stars. And now we've unlocked the ability of purchasing Mega Stones by trading Mega Shards at Quasartico Incorporated. Urbane defeated Vinnie shortly after, joining me as a rank F trainer. Returning to Hotel Z to celebrate the accomplishment, AZ gifted me the Meganiumite Stone, but the upgrades kept coming, as my normal and flying type Swablu gains the Dragon typing when it evolves at level 35 into Altaria. But it will be a while until I can get Altaria's Mega Stone. But I was able to get the Mega Stone for my newest acquisition, the normal type Audino, which does gain the Fairy typing when it Mega Evolves, and I put it to use right away after purchasing Audino's Mega Stone, as I used Audino, Mawile, and Mega Meganium, which gains the secondary Fairy typing whenever it Mega Evolves, as the rest of Team MZ joined forces with me to pacify 3 more Rogue Megas in Camerupt, Slowbro, and Victory Bell. On the next day, it started to rain in Lumiose, but once it subsided, a rainbow was in the sky, giving me a perfect opportunity to once again change my ZA Royale profile picture. Once back at Hotel Z after a job well done, I was informed by my ZA Royale app that my next opponent is the electrifying Canari. I wasted little time in collecting my next Challenger's ticket before heading over to Racing Construction so I can engage in battle against a top video game live streaming sensation from Kalos. Let's see if Canari is as equally dangerous with electric types like Iono back in the Paldea region. Canari's battle theme absolutely slaps, and her first Pokemon is Heliolisk, which is also a normal type. I chose to lead off this promotion match with Florges, which has the highest special defense-based stats of any of my Fairy types. In a battle between 2 Pokemon with healing moves, Florges was able to outpace Heliolisk's Parabolic Charge before getting the knockout with the combination of Moonblast, Draining Kiss, and Giga Drain. Canari's second Pokemon is Ampharos, who sets up its physical defense by using Cotton Guard, but I swapped in Gardevoir that has the highest special attack base stat of all my Fairies, as it was able to wipe out Ampharos with Psychic, after weakening Ampharos with Draining Kiss and Dazzling Gleam. Canari's penultimate Pokemon is the part Ground-type Stunfisk, who was able to briefly slow down Clefable by getting that 30% paralysis by landing the electric special attack Discharge. Stunfisk managed to get Clefable down to below half of its health before Clefable got the KO with a third Bubble Beam. And now we've come to the climax of this promotion match, as we now have a battle between 2 brand new Mega Evolutions, as I Mega Evolved Meganium and Canari Mega Evolved her ace Pokemon Electros. Because there are no abilities in Legends ZA, Electros can now get hit by super effective ground-type attacks like Meganium's Bulldoze. If this was a traditional Pokemon game, Electros would have ground-type immunity because it has the ability Levitate. But after a second Bulldoze, down went Mega Electros. And as Canari suffers a bitter defeat, up goes my rank to rank E. With no new Mega Stones for me to purchase, it was time for me to move on forward. Continuing on my journey, Gardevoir and Mawile calmed down the 3 rogue Megas of Beedrill, Hawlucha, and Banette. And once I returned to Hotel Z, it was revealed that my next opponent in the ZA Royale is Ivor from the Fists of Justice. So I swiftly went on another ZA Royale run, racking up 35 wins, another challenger's ticket, and nearly $250,000 in pocket money. And while visiting the Lumiose sewers for the first time, I found my last encounter of the run, catching another part Steel type in Klefki before being forced into battle against Ivor's sister Gwen. One of my favorite characters in this game, and a solid user of ghost types. Clefable was able to take down her lead Pokemon Banette, while I used Gardevoir to get rid of her second Pokemon Gourgeist. And I had the perfect counter for Gwen's Ace Chandelure and the part normal type Audino, who gains the fairy typing when it Mega Evolves. Audino is immune to ghost type attacks, which eliminates the threat of Chandelure hitting with a Mega Evolve boosted Shadow Ball. A move that I also taught Audino once I earned the TM. Audino was not phased at all by Chandelure's Fire Spin before getting the knockout with Icy Wind. Now that I've successfully found Gwen, I made my way over to the Justice Dojo to take on Ivor in the hopes of increasing my rank once again. Ivor has a team of fighting types, which plays right into my advantage considering I'm using a team of 4 fairies. Ivor's first Pokemon is Heracross, and my chosen lead for this fight is Gardevoir. Heracross's pin missile struck 5 times, but Gardevoir was able to withstand every single blow and obliterate Heracross with Dazzling Gleam. I swapped in Clefable to wear down Ivor's second Pokemon Medicham with a combination of Draining Kiss and Shadow Ball before lowering the boom with another Dazzling Gleam. I next brought in Sylveon to deal with Ivor's third Pokemon, Machamp, who on the first turn decided to build up its attack and defense by using Bulk Up, which gave Sylveon the opportunity to aggressively attack before finishing off Machamp with Draining Kiss after softening Machamp's special defense by using Fake Tears. Repeating a theme from the battle against Canari, I brought in Meganium, then immediately Mega Evolved so it can throw down against Ivor's Pride and Joy, Phalanx, the first Pokemon from the Galar region that got a brand new Mega Evolution. But Meganium gets a completely free KO for the win, as its Dazzling Gleam prevents Ivor's Ace from boosting all of its stats with no retreat, sending Ivor down to a crushing defeat. It doesn't take rocket science to recognize fairies are stronger than fighters in the Pokemon world, as I got another rank increase to rank D. But in order to climb higher, our toughest test is next. And this test is created by Urbane's Mental Lapse and Judgment. He wanted to make another Hotel Z promo, so he borrowed $100,000 from the Rust Syndicate and has racked up $1 million in debt, which puts the burden on Lita and myself to head over to the Rust Syndicate office to try to clean up Urbane's mess. And speaking of cleaning up, that's exactly what Felipe's Mega Skarmory nearly did, wiping out half my team before it finally went down to a Draining Kiss from Florges. And once we were introduced to Big Boss Corbeau, I managed to calm down 3 more Rogue Megas in Mawile, Barbaracle, and Ampharos, which is critical because now I have another Mega Stone for one of my fairies as I picked up the Mawile Light Stone. Wanting to keep my pace at a fever pitch, I ran roughshod on the ZA Royale to earn another Challenger's ticket. After doing some odd jobs for the Rust Syndicate without pay, I might add, I headed over to their office to have a conversation with Corbeau, who told me that I just so happened to be facing him next in this latest promotion match. If you thought my fairy types had trouble dealing with Felipe and his 3 steel types, you ain't seen nothing yet, as Corbeau comes stacked with a team of 4 Pokemon, and he specializes in the fairy type's other weakness, poison types. If you don't lead off with a steel type, you are guaranteed to get poisoned by Corbeau's first Pokemon, Arbok, who loves to use Toxic on its opening turn. Yet I still let off with Florges, because I had Florges protect itself from the Toxic attack and equip it with a Pecha Berry to cure Florges from the poison once it got stung by Arbok's poison jab. I also had Florges set up Safeguard, a TM that you get after defeating Vinnie, before finishing off Arbok with a Psychic attack. I kept Florges in to try to deal some damage to Corbeau's second Pokemon, Roserade, before Florges went down to a Sludge Bomb. It sure helps that my next Pokemon, Gardevoir, is also a Psychic type, weakening the damage from Roserade's Sludge Bomb by eating a Kabaya Berry before wiping out Roserade with the combination of Psychic and Mystical Fire. With Florges' Safeguard still in effect, I had Gardevoir set things up for the rest of my team against Gyarados, by first setting up a Reflect and then using Wish, which will heal up the next Pokemon I bring in. Gardevoir was down to 6 HP before I finally swapped out in favor of Dedenne. Gyarados no doubt is a strong Pokemon, but is extremely allergic to electric attacks, as Dedenne polished off Gyarados with the combination of 2 quad-effective hits, Parabolic Charge, and Thunderbolts. I then swapped in my Steely Star Mawile to go up against Corbeau's ace Pokemon, Scolipede, who will absolutely wreck any of my fairy types that is not immune to Scolipede's poison physical attack, Gunk Shot. I was able to beat Corbeau to the punch by Mega Evolving Mawile first, as you get a first-hand look at another brand new Mega Evolution. Scolipede wisely protected itself from potentially being flinched by Mawile's Iron Head. Gardevoir's Reflect wore off right before Scolipede landed a devastating Earthquake, but in the end, the bug goes down to the combination of Mega Mawile's super effective Rock Slide and Fire Fang. A satisfying victory for my fabulous fairies, as we were able to overcome the venom of Big Boss Corbeau, as I now rise up to rank C. And now that I officially outranked the boss, I'm now able to purchase more Mega Stones from Quasartico Inc. Now that the Rust Syndicate is firmly behind us, I return to Quasartico Incorporated, because now I have more than enough Mega Shards to give Gardevoir its glow up, as I now own the Gardevoirite Stone. As thrilled as I am to get my most cherished way of Mega Evolving a Fairy type, there are 2 more Mega Stones I must acquire for other members of my Fairy type family. While celebrating my latest rank increase with Team MZ at a cafe truck, we got a preemptive interruption and a cordial invitation all at once by Liban from the Society of Battle Connoisseurs. Liban personally invited only myself and Urbane to come over to Hotel Richicity and participate in an exclusive tournament, which is hosted by none other than Lady Jacinthe, the proud owner of Hotel Richicity, who claims to be the strongest fairy type user in all of Lumiose City. I took full exception to that, which is why I graciously accepted Liban's invitation. And I wonder why Jacinthe was able to invite Galar Region champion Leon to one of her fine hotel events. But before Jacinthe's exclusive tournament can take off, it was interrupted by a call from Vinnie suggesting that Urbane and I calm down 3 more Rogue Mega Evolutions, which gave me the opportunity to secure my latest Challengers ticket, and then calm down 3 more Rogue Mega Evolutions in Frostlass, Altaria, and Venusaur. Defeating Altaria and pacifying that Rogue Mega was the most important of the bunch, as I now acquired the Altaria Night Stone. Returning to Hotel Z after stopping the latest threat to Lumiose, we step out of Hotel C briefly to learn we were trapped under house arrest by a silly-looking purple-colored battle zone set up by Jacinthe and the SBC called the Jacinthe Zone. Team MZ selected me to fight my way through in defeating 2 SBC socialites, and then go toe-to-toe with Jacinthe's right-hand lady, Liban, who is a fearless user of dragon types, a type that fairy types are immune to, but this fight with Liban is anything but free, as her team of 4 is strapped with coverage to compensate for dragon-type weaknesses. In impressive fashion, Florges took down Liban's first 2 Pokémon, Noivern and Garchomp. I then swapped in Mawile, my designated Tyrantrum stopper. Mawile barely survived with 4 HP before getting the knockout with Iron Head. I then swapped in Mega Gardevoir to finish off the fight against Liban's ace Pokémon, Mega Dragalge, a special attack and special defensive juggernaut that is also a poison type. I had Gardevoir use the neutral Moonblast to force Dragalge to protect itself, so Gardevoir can get an opening with the super effective Psychic before getting the KO with Draining Kiss. And after defeating Liban, I immediately learned that my next opponent in the ZA Royale is against Jacinthe. I made my way back to Hotel Richissime alongside Urbane to compete in Jacinthe's tournament, which was obviously rigged for Jacinthe to be in the finals no matter what. Evidenced by that bracket shown on her projector screen, I managed to make my way through the finals by defeating Canari, Ivor, and Corbeau once again. But before I can prove to Jacinthe once and for all who the glamorous trainer in all of Lumiose City is, I was promptly interrupted by Zygarde, who challenged me to an impromptu battle. But the legendary's 50% form was slayed by Florges, who destroyed Zygarde with the combination of Moonblast and 2 healing moves, Giga Drain and Draining Kiss, while also progressively healing by using Wish. I am just 2 slots away from my ultimate goal of reaching rank A, but this promotion match is deeply personal, as I face off against Jacinthe in a fairy-type mirror match. This is the first promotion match in the main story of Pokemon Legends ZA, where the opposing trainer will have a team of 5 Pokemon, and Jacinthe's first fairy type is her own Carbink, who always sets up Stealth Rock the second it enters into battle. That's why I had Klefki wipe out Carbink with a quad-effective Flash Cannon after lowering the defenses of Carbink with Metal Sound. I kept Klefki in to take the Fire Fang from Jacinthe's own Mawile. Then I swapped in Clefable to set up a Future Sight, which actually struck Mawile for a critical hit before getting the KO with Mystical Fire. I then swapped out Clefable in favor of Florges to deal with Jacinthe's third Pokemon, the Rock and Ice type fossil from the Kalos region, Aurorus. After setting up an early light screen, Florges used Energy Ball to take Aurorus out. And here comes my favorite part of this bout against Jacinthe, as she brings out her very own Gardevoir. So of course I'm going to bring out my own to show Jacinthe who the superior Gardevoir user is. The movesets for both of our Gardevoirs are almost identical, considering I taught my Gardevoir the Ghost Special Attack Shadow Ball for super effective damage, and as my Gardevoir emerges victorious, Jacinthe is down to her final Pokemon, Clefable. And since Jacinthe's very own Mawile was not able to defeat my Clefable, I decided to be the ultimate troll once again by having Mega Mawile be the one to do combat against Jacinthe's Clefable, which Mega evolves and gains the secondary flying typing. I had Mawile use its strongest move, Iron Head, to force Clefable to protect itself. Then Mawile secured the victory with the combination of Fire Fang, Ice Fang, and Brick Break before eventually knocking out Clefable with another Iron Head. The winner of this bout, an undisputed queen of fairy types, is Gardelade, with Jacinthe being the latest in a long line of trainers I've defeated in the ZA Royale. I have officially risen to rank B. There was no hard feelings in defeating Jacinthe, but I was firmly standing on business. Jacinthe gives me the TM for Play Rough as a result of the victory, and as I left Hotel Richissime, I headed all the way back to Quasarticle Incorporated to purchase the Clefableite Stone. Now that I have every possible encounter I can find, I pacified the final 3 Rogue Megas, Tyranitar, Starmie, and Dragonite, before returning to Hotel Z to find out that my final opponent for the right to reach rank A in the ZA Royale is Grisham. So without any hesitation, I put the beat down on every single ZA Royale trainer I could find in the nighttime to get one final Challenger's ticket. I then headed over to the research lab. Through Professor Mabel, I found out that Grisham used to be a part of Team Flare, which led me to Lysander Cafe, where I was met by Grisham, who revealed to me that he's not only my future opponent, but he's also the boss of Team Flare Nouveau. But before entering the cafe, I was challenged by Grizel to a Pokemon battle. This may not be a promotion match, but this could definitely be a stumbling block on the road to rank A if Grizel has her way. I smartly started with Carbink, considering I had it set up Stealth Rocks and hold the Rocky Helmet to wear down and eventually take out Grizel's first Pokemon Talonflame. I then swapped in Clefable and relied on Stealth Rock chip damage and the quad-effective Water Special Attack Bubble Beam to wipe out Camerupt. I then swapped in Gardevoir to protect itself from potentially being crit by Aerodactyl Stone Edge before the Kanto region fossil goes down next. Grizel's fourth Pokemon is Metagross, who is a problem for Fairy types. I swapped in Sylveon to weaken the special defense of Metagross with Fake Tears and attack with super effective attacks Shadow Ball and Bite before going down to Metagross' super effective Bullet Punch. And as Sylveon goes down, I swapped in Gardevoir, immediately using Protect as quickly as I could to shield itself from being knocked out by a fatal Bullet Punch, then wiping out the Hoenn region pseudo-legendary with a Shadow Ball. For Grizel's final Pokemon Pyroar, I swapped in Altaria, which is usually a Dragon and Flying type, but once it Mega Evolves, it becomes Pokemon's first and only Dragon and Fairy dual typing. Definitely one of the marvelous looking Mega Evolutions around. And speaking of Mega Evolutions, Pyroar got one as well. This incredible matchup of an old guard versus a new breed of Mega Evolutions was all gas and no brakes, trading Earth Powers and Earthquakes. But once a Flamethrower from Pyroar got Altaria down to 20 HP, I had her soar high up into the air before getting the drop on Mega Pyroar for the victory. Mega Altaria's triumph proves that old school is still cool. With no more obstacles to deal with, no more hurdles to jump over, it's now time to face off against Grisham for the right to reach rank A. The battle lines have been drawn, as this is a full 6-on-6 battle. The one thing that benefits me the most for this fight is that 4 of Grisham's Pokemon is weak to Fairy, including his lead Pokemon Pangoro being 4 times weak to Fairy, as it immediately gets annihilated by Gardevoir's critical hit Moonblast. I kept Gardevoir in against Malamar briefly, knowing that Malamar is going to use that first turn Hypnosis. So I swapped in Dedenne for a grueling battle of attrition, attacking Malamar with super effective attacks like Dazzling Gleam and the 4 times effective Bug Physical Attack U-Turn, also paralyzing Malamar with Nuzzle, before eventually finishing off Malamar with Dazzling Gleam. With Dedenne now drowsy and at 20 hit points left, any attack from Grisham's third Pokemon Pyroar will end Dedenne's night. So I swapped out and brought Clefable in, seeing that Pyroar was going to attack with Snarl. The main reason why I also switched out Dedenne was because Pyroar has the super effective ground special attack Earth Power. Clefable's arsenal of attacks being Ice Beam, Bubble Beam, Air Slash, and Psychic was more than enough to put down Pyroar. It's now a 6v3, and 2 of the final 3 Pokemon Grisham has are pseudo-legendaries, starting with the Johto pseudo-legendary Tyranitar. Knowing that Tyranitar sees a KO with Stone Edge, I swapped Clefable out to avoid impact, bringing Mawile in to deal sizable damage to Tyranitar with Iron Head and Brick Break before getting the KO with Play Rough. Mawile survived Tyranitar's onslaught thanks to holding a Sugar Berry. Then Sylveon one-shots another Hoenn pseudo-legendary Salamence with a Moonblast after shortening the special defense of Salamence by using Fake Tears. And now Grisham's down to his final Pokemon, Charizard. Wanting to bring this final promotion match to a convincing conclusion, I brought in Altaria and immediately Mega Evolved. as Grisham Mega evolves Charizard into Mega Charizard X, which gives Altaria the immediate advantage because Altaria, now Mega Evolved, will be completely immune to Charizard's Dragon Rush. And now Altaria will be able to attack Charizard super effectively with Dragon Rush, Earthquake, and Dragon Claw, with the latter of those moves delivering the decisive crushing blow. My fabulous fairy types have done it. We have checked off every single goal in this run, making me the highest ranked trainer in all of Lumiose City as I get officially promoted to rank A. I celebrated with Team MZ once again inside Hotel Z, and it became a double celebration when we learned that Urbane also reached rank A. A gigantic explosion proceeded to wake up all of Lumiose City in the dead of night, and the source of it was at Prism Tower, as it's now bathed in rogue Mega Evolution energy. It's time to face AZ's fears head-on, as I join Team MZ and Eternal Flower Floette as we make our way down to Prism Tower and meet up with Vinnie. It's there where I'm going to be challenged to battle for the final time by Urbane to determine who the strongest trainer is in all of Lumiose City. It's one final 6-on-6 showdown for my fantastic fairies and I as we try to add to our long winning streak and maintain our flawless record. Urbane has a well-balanced team of all-stars for this fight, starting with his first Pokemon he brings into action, a male Meowstic. And as Urbane whips out Meowstic from its Pokeball, I decided to lead off this fight with Mawile. Meowstic loves to set up dual screens in Reflect and Light Screen, so I had Mawile use Play Rough to do damage and get close, then deliver a super effective Crunch attack, break the screens with Brick Break, and then knock out Meowstic with an Iron Head. Meowstic did inflict paralysis on Mawile before going down, forcing Urbane to bring in the Johto Water Starter for Alligator because it has a super effective ground attack in Bulldoze. So I countered for Alligator by bringing in Florges, who applied constant pressure on Feraligatr with Giga Drain and Draining Kiss before wiping out Feraligatr with a super effective Energy Ball. Urbane's third Pokemon is Goodra, who immediately on entry poisons Florges with Toxic. I kept Florges in for a while to take off a quarter of Goodra's health before swapping in Gardevoir, who also got poisoned, before finishing off Goodra with the combination of Moonblast and Draining Kiss. The fourth Pokemon Urbane sends out is Avalugg, so I brought in another part Steel type on my fairy crew in Klefki. After forcing Avalugg to protect itself from Draining Kiss, I had Klefki lure the already bad special defense of Avalugg with Metal Sound before getting a one-shot with Flash Cannon. Urbane's fifth Pokemon Manectric threatens Klefki's existence with a fire special attack Overheat, so I swapped in Sylveon to force Manectric to protect itself from the first Moonblast, then lowered Manectric's special defense with Fake Tears, then went on the aggressive and trading attacks before Manectric got dropped by a critical hit Moonblast. At this point, it's an all-hands-on-deck approach for me, as Urbane's down to his final Pokemon, the fire starter from Unova, Emboar, which also got a brand new Mega Evolution, just like the other two starters you can choose from in Pokemon Legends ZA. I brought Clefable in to do some chip damage with the super effective Air Slash, and right before Emboar was about to do a +1 Flare Blitz, I decided to Mega Evolve Clefable for the first time. But the timing could not have been at a bad moment, as Clefable easily got bodied by Emboar's two super effective attacks, Stone Edge, and a lethal Thunder Punch. I summoned in the Poison Gardevoir to try and conclude matters. It survived Flare Blitz and narrowly missed out on a KO with Psychic before getting blown to bits by a Stone Edge. Emboar has now taken out a third of my team, but in came Florges to save the day with a less effective Energy Ball, and down goes Mega Emboar. And with that, I can truly say I have defeated the leader of Team MZ, becoming the strongest trainer and Mega Evolution user in all of Lumiose City, scoring another victory for my fabulous fairy types. For the true happy ending, I relied on Mega Gardevoir, Mega Clefable, and Mega Meganium to take down all 3 phases of Hyper Rogue and Floette. And once Mega Zygarde saves all of Lumiose City by stopping the final Light of Ruin attack by Floette by counter-striking with its own Nihil Light, that is how I managed to beat all of Pokemon Legends ZA using only fairy types. To all of you who took the time out and wanted to view this from the beginning to the end and enjoy this experience along with me, I sincerely thank you. If you love content like this, be sure to leave a like. And if you are a newcomer to this channel, please consider clicking the subscribe button, because every subscription tells me that I am doing something right and will further inspire me to want to make even more gaming content. See you on the next one. And as always, take care, God bless you all, keep on shining, and thank you, AZ.